Hello, everyone. Welcome to week 6 of the Collegiate Chess League Spring 2026 season. We've got a couple matches to share with you all today, starting off with a Division II matchup between Arizona State University and University of California, Berkeley. Let's go dive right in. They've just started their games, so I'm excited to see which team will be coming out on top today. These are both West Coast schools. They're playing pretty early. This is actually earlier than our usual default time. Default time will be 11 a.m. Pacific for these teams, but today they've decided to play an hour early so that they could be on broadcast because we've got another match coming up in Division 1 after this one. So buckle up, folks. We've got a couple matches. I'm very excited. And yes, I am from California for school at least. I went to one of Berkeley's rival schools, UCLA, a sister school or a cousin school, as some may call it. But I'll promise not to be biased in this particular matchup. We've got the Bears and we've got the Wildcats. And the Wildcats like to say bear down. So if they win, we could very well see them saying that. Here we've got a Scotch game. And this trade, normally you will see bishop takes with an intermezzo because queen takes will be threatening mate. And if the pawn has to retake, these double isolated pawns are pretty weak. But with the knight on e7, because the queen was on f6, white had a more immediate intermezzo with knight takes knight with check, actually, and only then they could recapture. So we don't see the bishop trade on e3. Instead, we see queen recapturing on c6, and that helps also defend the bishop on c5. If you had knight takes, there was going to be bishop takes c5. So we see queen takes, then we see the trade on c5, queen takes back, and now queen to e2 helps defend the bishop. But now we see pawn to d5. This is just opening up for the bishop, as well as trying to open up this e file. We do see the trade. The bishop was hit, so pawn is taken. The knight takes back. We see that bishop trade for the knight. Queen recaptures in the center, and now white castles, getting the king out of danger on that e file. Black just completes their development, getting those rooks connected. And now we sort of have to watch out. We want to bring the knight to d2, but the problem is we're going to get our queen hit, and that queen needs to stick around defending the knight. But also, this bishop develop is with a tempo, a potential skewer here. Very nicely played here by Black. This is a FIDE Master, Titan Chess, 2800. This is the top board for Berkeley. This is Austin May. And they're playing up against Knight Can Jump. So that is Arjun Sankar, the board 4 from ASU. What's up, Physic? Good to see you. Appreciate you stopping by. I need to adjust the scoreboard. And also, I need to announce on Discord, which I've forgotten to do. But, you know, Physic is here before the Discord announcement because he's a real one. He knows Saturdays are for collegiate chess matches, and we're actually an hour early today. What's up, Krishna? Good to see you in the chat. Shout out to the ChessCom community chat. We also have the Collegiate Chess League chat, but Physic is in the JoeBruin chat. Very special indeed. Very much appreciated for sure. Let me double check with the board order. Real quick. All right. That should be updated. Let me check on the other games here. We've got 4 boards all playing at the same time. Here we've got Subum. Subum was playing some bullet chess last night against a streamer, Elijah. Although some say Elijah's not actually his real name. Yeah, you could bounce around like Krishna, perhaps, but no, I think one chat is more than enough. This is a very interesting move here. G4. And black is really trying to bring the attack to this white king. These 2 pawns just shielding the king for now, but at any moment, these pawns could get traded. So black has pressure here. And this pawn is defended by the f pawn, which is now currently being questioned by the bishop trade. So that knight was taken out by the bishop, and now black is deciding how to take back. They take with the f pawn. Now this bishop is also here to help support. So we could see a rook lift here. The computer likes rook f6. An interesting move. Chess star here. This is the board 2. No, board 3? Wow. Board 3 for UC Berkeley. Aryan, a Truthon. So Subum is the team captain for ASU. Asish Panda, very strong national master, 2751. These are some strong teams. This is Division 2. So this is the best of the rest, basically. D1, those are mostly scholarship teams. But D2, these are just the best college clubs outside of the scholarships. We'll be watching UT Dallas after this. They are one of the strongest teams in the world for colleges, and they are a great example of a scholarship team. Queen f2, very strong threat. Queen f7, infiltration. Or perhaps if the bishop was on the back rank, queen f8 would be mate. But bishop to e6, this helps defend both f7 and opens up the rook to guard f8. Queen steps in, looking for a trade. Black says, no thanks. Let's leave the queens on the board for now. And white lifts that rook, opening up room for the second rook to join the equation. And the computer still gives a slight edge for black. Maybe it's king safety. Maybe it's the bishop. But probably it's because black is up a pawn. White does have the connected pass pawn, though, which is quite valuable. And this bishop is feeling like a tall bishop. Look at all of these pawns on light squares. So the knight could become useful. Just needs some time. Here we've got Aliekin's gun loaded on the G file. So rook to G1 gives some much extra needed support. We don't want to be going down 2 pawns. So we see this pawn advancing on a dark square. Not sure if black wants to go for c5 at some point, but this move does prevent the knight from going to c5. So we see chess star. This is Arjun. No, not Arjun. Aryan. Arjun is on ASU. We haven't looked at all the games yet, but I am a fan of Subum. Let's see. We actually do have a result here. This is the Titan Chess winning. Trading off rooks and just being up a minor piece. So this was a quick one here. This was the Scotch we were watching earlier. So yeah, bishop here. And if bishop here, I guess there was going to be a pen. So we see a queen trade offered. And look at this. Strong mate threat idea. Rook lift, and now, yeah, it's going to be a tactic there. So we have this trade, but then the rook can drop back defending. Very nice resignation there from the ASU board 4. So Austin puts Berkeley on the board first. Quick win there. Let's check in here with Nasty Panda. This is the board 4 from UC Berkeley, a national master at 2,500, up against Casablanca, 2,800 national master from ASU. This is Paris Prestia. So a lot of titled players here in Division 2. Only 2 players out of 8 are not titled on the platform. Here we've got Chido versus 1G4, 1-0. But looks like 1G4 had the black pieces, so they couldn't start with G4 in this game. But this is Serkan Salik from Berkeley, a national master, 2,700. Chido, this is the board 3 from ASU. So it looks like Berkeley's going to be a massive favorite, actually. All 4 of their boards are titled. ASU has the 2 players that are not titled. So yeah, the lowest rated player for Berkeley is 2,500. And this is the board 3 from ASU at 2,274. So the odds are very much stacked against them, unfortunately for them. But maybe their top players can just absolutely tear through the Berkeley team. We'll have to see. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of pressure on Casablanca, Paris, which is a funny thing to say, but also on Subum, Asish, Panda. But looks like Panda's making some progress here, breaking through. So let's see how Black made their progress. Yeah, ditch the H-pawn, gets this pawn in here, queen check, rook takes, queen takes, check, pawn push now, this is a passer, another check, another check, another check, check here, and now queen h3 check. This bishop's looking to join the fun, and this pawn is also looking to promote. So this is going to be undefendable coming up very soon. Both players less than a minute, but should be more than enough for ASU. Oh my god. He messed it up. He needed bishop g4 check. Wow. He just gave up his pawn. He's scooping up all these other pawns, but with a low time, he might not be able to get the job done. So now it's still anyone's game. That was a much needed point for ASU. I had faith in Subum, but he messed it up. SMH. Now the knight's there to defend. Oh, but the pawn is pushing. Hold on. Did white just blunder a piece? Sources say yes. But white has a passed pawn, although this bishop... Yeah, it looks like the bishop is going to prevail, and this knight is going to fail. How's that for a little bit of a rhyme? Anyways. So Asish, he just wanted to make it dramatic. He wanted to win multiple ways. Okay, so queen is here. Bishop check. Hold on. So he's not trading queens just yet, but I think he should. He does. He's gonna grab this H pawn. See, also I think B5 is a smart move. Perhaps, maybe not. Maybe you need this bishop to just stay here. I was thinking of walking it in here, but let's keep an eye on some of the other games. Asish should be winning this one pretty cleanly now. Here, okay, so 1G4 from Berkeley. should be winning this as well. Lots of extra pawns for black. Yeah, Subum does get the job done, wins his game. So Subum ties it up for ASU. This game, maybe some repetitions. Ooh, black's going to scoop up this pawn now. So they're making progress. Yep, that's a capture. There's a check. So yeah, 3 pawns to none should be more than enough for the stronger player. Let's check in with the Nasty Panda versus Casablanca. So there are 2 pandas in this match. There's a Siege Panda and there's Nasty Panda. Here, Nasty Panda gonna keep it even against Casablanca. That's gonna be huge for the Berkeley team because Paris is the top board for ASU, and Nasty Panda is the board 4 for UC Berkeley. So a draw is a good result. Yeah, 1G4 gets the job done. So Sirkin is adding on to the lead for Berkeley, up 2-1. And yeah, Casablanca is going to try to make some progress, but this is as drawn as it gets. Black maybe even for choice with the extra space. Pawn on e5. But it's a rook and 2 pawns versus a rook and 2 pawns. And we could see some sort of repetition any moment here. Both players less than 30 seconds. But yeah, also the pawns are split. There's really no way to make progress. No way to make a passed pawn. So yeah, the rook's going to come back to g5. So the king steps back. We're going to see repetition or a draw very soon. Unless someone pushes a pawn. But I would probably be ill-advised. King back, probably. Whoa, looking for a trade here. Five seconds. Don't flag. There's going to be another rook check. You have to. King up, defending the pawn. Now going for the rook trade. And in that position, you might consider taking with a pawn, actually. And you then have a chance to make an outside pass pawn. Although still probably drawn. But who knows? All right, new rook position for black. We could see another 50 moves here, folks. When was the last capture and or pawn push? That's a great question. F3. This is move 56. So in one more move, we'll hit the 50 move rule. Unless someone pushes a pawn right here, right now, which would be hilarious. But no, we hit the 50 move rule. So yeah, good result for Berkeley. They're board 4, keeping the board 1 from ASU to a draw, and that's going to be good enough to keep a 1-point lead for Berkeley. And I would be very shocked if ASU could come back, just given the ratings of the players. So ASU, their real strength are on their top 2 boards, but we've already seen Paris Prestia, top board from ASU, getting a draw against Vladislav from Berkeley, the board 4. So this is a Berkeley team to be reckoned with. All 4 players are titled. They have 3 National Masters and 1 FIDE Master on board 1. And yeah, they look like they're in shape for the playoffs, which are starting in 2 weeks from today. So this is week 6 of 7 of the regular season. So next weekend, that's going to be the final week. Wow, rook to g1 from the FIDE master. Definitely choreographing a g4 pawn push. So black responds with h5. White's continuing their development. So no kingside castles for white very early on here. And black is ready to kingside castle, but with the pawn push on h5 and with white's rook on g1, here they're still gearing up for that g4 pawn break. So h3 is there to help prepare. Definitely some very interesting opening prep here. I wonder, so, okay, 1g4 not living up to their name. That g-pawn is still on g2. So we're going to have to talk to the Berkeley team manager about this. This is clearly not living up to expectations. f3, creating space for that bishop, perhaps to go to f2, but maybe it wants to go to g3. Maybe. No, it does go to f2. So not allowing the knight to hit with tempo on h5. And at some point, white's going to play for e4. We see a lot of build up here, and white with this last move is now ready to castle either direction. Same with black now. So very flexible. Neither side really showing where the king's going to be. a3 just preventing that knight from forking these pieces. So the knight reroutes to c7. And now we see castles queenside, which makes sense. These pawns are pretty far advanced here. You don't really want to castle into the attack. And black similarly might castle queenside as well. But it seems here they're interested in this queenside attack. So king b1, just a solid move, and now a5. Preparing for b4. So this a3 pawn push, this is what we call a hook in the position. This is going to allow for black to make impact and try their best to open up this king here that is on the queen side. So knight can jump. This is the board 4 for ASU. They've delayed castling. They've waited for white to show their cards first. And now that white has decided to be on the queen side, black has launched the A and B pawns, and now white is playing in the center. Very smart, very logical. You can't let black just steamroll you, walk all over you, and if your opponent's going to leave the king in the middle, you might as well play in the middle. E4, we mentioned this was going to be the logical continuation, the follow-up for white, as every piece they have is really pointing towards this central expansion, and this is going to allow for some trades. And of course, we want to create some problems here. So when black is playing in the center like this, that means that they're not playing on the queen side and attacking our king. So expect white to continue making some of these central focused moves. Black actually makes this move, knight g4, attacking the bishop. Bishop tucks back, and now black hits the knight. We're not trading. We're not allowing this a pawn to open up for the rook. So we simply move the knight. The knight goes to a4 with a counterpunch. Actually, knight to b6 would be a fork here. So how black replies here is going to be very important. Rook to b8 makes a lot of sense. Rook b8 first off addresses this threat. The knight can no longer go to b6 with a fork. But furthermore, the rook is also lined up opposite this king. So black has a very strong threat. B takes a3. And honestly, it's not very obvious how to deal with that. The computer says just take on b4. There's also this move h3. So I'm really liking how Sirkin is playing this. Sirkin's the league. definitely remaining calm here against the pressure. Yeah, f3 can be a weakening move, but it's also very helpful. This gave the bishop a new home on f2, but also gave the e4 pawn push some support. So notice white has 2 pawns in the center. Black has no pawns in the center. But also, it's not so bad to damage your king side if you're planning on castling queen side anyways. Okay, we see the rook lifts, putting some slight pressure on the knight. Knight hits c5, hitting the queen and the bishop. The dark square bishop gets traded, and now the queen recaptures, pressure on the a pawn, and that rook would be hanging. This also prevents black from castling, not that they were necessarily looking into that. So the question for black is, do you save that pawn? You can't push it because the rook needs it. And if that pawn is grabbed, then the rook needs to find a new home regardless. So what does the computer prefer here? It likes this move bishop back to b3, hitting the rook. Let's check in on some of the other games. We haven't looked at any of them. We already have a result, actually. Another quick win here for the Berkeley team. Oh yeah, we did look at this briefly, but white grabs a pawn on e5. Grabs another pawn on a7. That's a fork. So that's just a free piece. And yeah, we see resignation here. So yeah, just a smooth, simple, clean win from Titan Chess. That is Austin May. 2 for 2 now for Berkeley. Top board. Okay, we've got the Panda matchup here, actually. This is Asish Panda versus the Nasty Panda. So both e4 and c4. We've got an IQP for white, that isolated queen pawn. We see the light square bishops are traded. We see white gets one of the bishops back, and now d5. Strong move here. This opens up the bishop. This attacks the knight, attacks the pawn. This pawn is only defended once by the queen, and it's hit 1, 2, 3 times. So we see the knight grabs, potential to take the bishop. We could see queen takes b7. Pressure on this knight. So that's the compensation that white is going for by giving up that central pawn. Now they take on b7. This knight is hit. And we could see the knight going back. We could also see knight takes e3. Rook takes c6. But also we could take back on e3. Probably you don't take with the pawn because that's very weakening. The computer likes rook takes. I think this is a little risky. I don't like that the rook on c1 is hanging. I don't like that the back rank is a little bit weak. So for me, I would probably play rook takes c6. And that's not what the computer is recommending. The computer says rook takes e3 is best. But the computer is very smart, and I am very scared. So Panda, Asish Panda here, plays f takes, which is sort of weakening. But there's potential to open up that f file with tempo on the queen, tempo on f7. That could be potential there. But now black has to deal with this threat on c6. And if the knight moves, it needs to protect this rook because otherwise white will be winning because this is a slight pen. The computer actually says queen to e7 is a move, and Nasty Panda finds it. So Asish, he's a team captain. Subham, He's the only player from ASU to get a full point in that first round. And yeah, he's up against the nasty Panda. So we'll see which Panda wins. Okay, there's a huge time pressure here for Knight can jump. Only 4 seconds. Yeah, we were watching this attack earlier. So what have we missed? So the Knight goes here. Oh, and we have resignation. Yeah. Queen takes, Knight here, and yeah, Black just used all their time. They grabbed here. A6, Knight goes back, Bishop comes back. I'm very intrigued. Yeah, after this move, the Knight becomes pinned. So, yeah, they just drop a piece here and resigns. Okay, and Casablanca wins. Okay, so let me put some points on the board. So Aryan gets their first win of the match. Actually, that's not true. What am I talking about? Casablanca gets a point, and 1g4, that's Sirkin gets a point. Okay, we're back to the Panda matchup. So Asish is doing quite well now. That's a huge fork. Okay, so we missed some tactics. Queen back, queen takes. Very nice. Knight back hits, but that blunders. Queen takes. Rook takes here. And he gets both rooks and a minor piece. Knight here, and now boom. Beautiful move. Rook check. Forcing the fork. So things fell apart quickly there for the nasty Panda. So Subum improves to 2, keeping this match close, 3.5 to 4.5. So Chess Star Aryan has lost to both top boards from ASU. So the difference maker so far has only been that round 1 Paris versus Vladislav upset, which was a draw. But now that we're in the second half of the match, I'm expecting Berkeley to really pull away now, because I think the top boards are going to be fairly evenly matched, but I think the bottom boards is where Berkeley's really going to show their dominance over the Wildcats. So let's see. Here we've got board 1 from ASU, Casablanca, versus board 2, Sirkin from Berkeley. And Sirkin's been a perfect 2 for 2 so far. So has Berkeley's top board, Austin May. So we'll see if the ASU top boards can put a dent in the Berkeley top pair. Yeah, I'm expecting the real difference makers here to be the bottom boards for Berkeley. Here we've got Vladislav, 2500 national master, up against Kwan. Kwan is 2269. A nice rating, but still a very significant mismatch. And yeah, here we've got Berkeley's top board, Titan Chess, up against Subum. So both of these players have been perfect so far. This will be the one to keep an eye on. All right, it looks like we have maybe a gambit. We have a French defense. And yeah, just allowing the capture on d4. So Black is giving up. No, black is up a pawn. The computer likes white, actually. Just ahead in development. I mean, already castled. Black still needs a few moves before they can connect rooks. Interestingly, the computer really likes bishop to g5 here, just infiltrating on the dark squares. But we see this capture instead. And again, it likes the bishop on g5, but the knight hops in instead. Potentially giving up a pawn here. We see knight takes e5, so Subum goes for the second pawn. But is it greedy? There's this move bishop to f4, which pins the knight to the queen. It's very interesting. There's a couple of things that black can do to protect the knight. So first and foremost, you can defend with the bishop. You could also defend with the pawn. But then I was also looking at knight f3 check because the bishop is hanging. Queen takes. However, that doesn't work because of queen takes. So here we see Austin just goes all out here. We see trying to recuperate one pawn with knight takes f5, trying to open up this king on the e file. So we see the knight hopping into g4. This is threatening queen h2. And here we have the bishop pinning the f pawn. So not quite threatening queen takes g3 because there is this knight defending, and this knight can't be grabbed now because of the pin on the e file. So here there's apparently a move that is very strong for white, but we'll see if Austin can find it. It's not so easy to find a follow-up in my mind. It's actually very scary to do that. So knight g7 check apparently was winning, like very strong for white. I mean, I shouldn't over exaggerate. It's not quite +1.5 apparently. It's over +1, but it's the only good move for white. Anything else and black has a slight advantage. Knight g7, the move is king to e7. And then it wants queen f3. But yeah, if the king goes to f8, we still play queen f3. And if the king goes to d8, then we have bishop to f4, apparently. And we just allow for this check, I guess. But yeah, knight goes here, pawn push, attacking the knight. Kind of a fake attack because, well, the king is still on the e file. So Subum may be the first player to take down Austin today. We'll see how the rest of this game goes, but so far it's looking good for black. Up an extra pawn, and fairly close to getting their development completed. This bishop still hasn't moved out yet. I'm expecting if bishop f4, well, this knight's defending, but also there's this move f6, which is kind of annoying. So yeah, this pawn is hanging is probably the big problem in this position. Queen f3 threatens check, very strong check, but computer doesn't like it for some reason. Probably because this bishop moves, but I'm not sure where it moves. And only a minute and a half for Austin, so very low on the clock. Still about 4 minutes for Subum. So yeah, looking very good. Now, if ASU can get some points on the top boards, they could potentially make some ground, but I think Berkeley is going to get the points on the bottom boards and keep it even. So if Berkeley keeps it even for the rest of the match, they're going to win by 1 point. There are still 2 rounds left, and anything can happen. Queen f3 has been played. So threatening a very strong check. And the only good move for Subum now is queenside castles. Apparently this is very strong. And that's exactly what we see here. And now this knight is just hanging. But apparently that's not even the move. The move like, how is that not even the move? I don't even know. I guess if pawn takes, we have bishop here. I don't know. This really is ridiculous. No, I mean, that's still winning. Yeah. So Subum has their choice. A lot of winning moves here. A lot of winning ideas. And yeah, taking the piece just makes a lot of sense. Why not? Who says no? Free material. So just don't get mated and you're fine. There's a lot of crazy ideas with the queenside castle. If the bishop gets here and controls these dark squares, if there's like a queen trade, for example, and pawn takes, this could be very weak. But yeah, and here clearing the way for the rook to pen. So there's no queen c6. Interestingly, here the only move is bishop c6. So looking for this trade here. Bishop takes, there's rook takes. So Titan is fighting, but less than a minute on their clock and still in a worse position. Okay, Chess Star gets their first point against the ASU board 4. Arjun. So yeah, just a lot of material and soon to be even more. So Chess Star gets on the board, and that's that lower board advantage I'm talking about. And Nasty Panda is going to lead onto that, although low on time, but this king is running for its life, and there's no queen on the board for white. And yeah, black just says, I want to simplify things. So there's one piece traded off. Pawn with check. Interesting. This is a very strong bishop, but I imagine black will continue to trade things down here. Pawn push, kind of a curious move. Nice simplification here. Check, another check. This king is too weak, and the queen is too strong. Queen versus rook, and yeah, as soon as you get that second rook off the board, life becomes so much easier for the queen. Even if this is a connected, not connected, but a pass pawn nonetheless. This king is just so weak, and with the rook on the board, this pawn will be gathered. So, okay, saying, go ahead, take the rook. I'm gonna try to find some sort of perpetual, but you can't even force the queen off the board because you're just gonna be down a rook. So this could be the end soon. Trying to maybe find a skewer. But now black can start giving some checks. And some really strong ones too. Like rook check, for example. Looks very, very strong. Nasty Panda could flag though. 10 seconds? Like, come on. Rook here, very peculiar. Not going for the throat. So there's rook f8 check. Tried could pull off a miracle here. Let's see. This guy's got down to 2 seconds. 1 second now. Gonna flag? They're gonna flag. But Casablanca was completely winning anyways. Wow, so the top boards from ASU really taking it to Berkeley. They're saying, you know, we don't need the bottom boards. Don't give up on us. Okay. And Subum? Subum. Oh, did Subum miss? No, Subum's still working. So Paris improves to 2.5. So yeah, Subum trying their best to even this thing up. And oh my goodness. Quan is trying their best. Down a queen. I mean, you can check. Well, look at these rooks, man. So low on time. The problem is, it's just not. Maybe these 3 pawns can make a difference somehow. Rook down. Rook is hit. Rook check. Uh-oh. Queen e2 looks very strong. Not played. Now Queen e2. And now we could see some strong work here. So Rook f3 check. Watch out for mates. Queen h2 is mate directly, by the way. So here's one check. King down. So apparently the move is g5. Ooh, g5 not played. So now the king is in front of the pawn, which is annoying. Wow, what a fight this game is. I mean, White's just trying every trick. Let's check back in with Subum. This is, oh no, bishop e4, only move. Missed. And now there's rook d6, fork. Oh no, Subum's gonna go down. Oh, but there's b3. The b pawn runs and lives. b2. Takes, and it's a draw apparently. But this is gonna be a hard draw. Knight blocks with check. And Nasty Panda does get the win, finally. Man, this was a ridiculous fight. I mean, where does he even lose the queen? I mean, look at this king hunt. Right there. You got to give up the queen. And then he somehow manages to bring it fairly close. It was only like, it was less than -1 at some points. But he was unable to find the proper defense. And then finally the queen and rook combo was too strong here. And he walked apparently rook f2, and it could be close to a draw actually. Maybe there's perpetuals here. But no. And now, oh no, Subum's getting the knight trapped. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Resignation. There's the fork. Wow. Titan chess. What a crazy game. So, yeah, Nasty Panda wins on board 4 for Berkeley. That's huge. But even larger here is the Titan prevailing and goes a perfect 3 for 3. That brings Berkeley within 1. So this could have gone very differently for ASU. Asish missed their opportunities. Black was much better earlier here. So what ended up happening? We had queen takes, queen trade, and that leads to a fork. So, yeah. Black is still better, though. Bishop takes, trade. Oh my god. Let me just continue this game, I guess. Oh my god. All the games are starting for the next round. It might happen to me all 4 times. And so, yeah, 2 minor pieces, but that passed pawn is really strong. So the move that was needed apparently was bishop e4. And yeah, this was just a fork. So, and then yeah, the knight and rook technique was not so good, unfortunately, for black. So the knight gets caught. Okay, so yeah, one final round left in this match, and then we'll watch the UT Dallas match. But yeah, ASU needs a miracle at this point. They need to win all 4 to win the match in regulation, or they're allowed 1 draw and they could force overtime if they win the other 3. What's up, Zoomja? Good to see you. Okay. Here we've got the board 2s going at it. Here we've got the board 4s going at it. Already some isolated pawns that you can attack. Queen here, pressure on the B pawn, also lining up with the king. This would be a pretty nasty discovery considering there's no F pawn. So we see the bishop blocking this pawn here. Knight takes, pressure on the bishop, just recapturing a pawn. Knight takes, we could take back with the knight, again with pressure on the pawn, on the bishop, I should say. We do see that, and now here we could see knight a6 is being recommended. Also queen b6. Wow, here, and there's this move bishop to g5, just winning the piece already. We'll see if the nasty panda finds it. But yeah, this was a terrible way to defend the bishop. It liked queen b6 because you offer a queen trade. But here, the defender is unreliable. So this is going to be an easy win. Berkeley's going to wrap this up already. So yeah, match is won with that. And that was the board 4 difference there. So Vladislav getting a huge draw against Paris, but finishing the match with back-to-back wins against boards 3 and 4 from ASU. And with that, Berkeley wins this match pretty cleanly with 3 games to spare. And yeah, I don't know if there's a game missing that I missed, but I see the top 2 boards are both going at it. So we've got the board 2s here, Subham versus Sirkin. And we have the top boards here, Titan, who's been perfect, 3 for 3, and Paris, Casablanca, who only had a draw in round 1. Okay, I saw. Let me try looking for this last game. Not that it necessarily matters, but yeah, I don't know if it started yet or if it ended early or something, but we'll keep an eye on Paris here. So quick kingside castles from both sides. There goes a rook. So up in exchange for a pawn. So white's definitely for choice. Could this be the one player to take down the Titan? Titan Chess. Austin May. So yeah, ASU, they've got a strong team, but I don't know if they had to pull up some subs today to fill in, so appreciate them playing early for the broadcast. In about 7 minutes, we should have the D1 match starting, so we'll take a quick break to set up for that. Lots of time spent here from Austin. We've seen this before against Subham as well, just getting low on time. But really looking for the best moves, and we saw him come back against Subam. Here, Subam's looking good as well, with the white pieces. So there goes a pawn. Snags that. And this bishop's going to get snagged as well. Wow, there's this move, knight takes d5. Are you serious? Wow, that was not played. That's a crazy tactic. Hold on. So I don't fully understand this. If knight takes f3. Oh, you get e4. Okay. Yeah, that was not so obvious to me. And if takes, same thing. Knight takes. There's no taking back, because if you do, just e4. If knight takes here, then bishop takes with the 4. Very, very beautiful tactic. Knight takes d5, missed. So instead, the knight went backwards, actually, to g2. Yikes. Okay, well, still pressure on this bishop, though. But now black has a chance. So queen d6, very strong move. Apparently. Yep, found. So yeah, you don't play the tactic, and your opponent might not let you back into the game. Okay, we have the last game finally started, but I'm not sure if I'll have enough time to watch all of this. Wow, this looks pretty bad, but let's see what's going on here. Pawn push, sacrifice, knight takes, bishop takes. So this was a mistake. So what needed to happen was bishop to d5 check first, or rook d7 check first. Not check, but rook d7 first. One of these two moves is going to be really good for white. Instead, we see takes here, and that allows for the move queen h4. And so Titan is back in it. Bishop d5 is needed here, but this is for a draw. King takes g7, pretty much forced. And then the move was rook to e5. That doesn't make any sense. Why is that being recommended? Here it wants rook d7 or queen c3 check. Here now it wants queen d4, guarding the f pawn, which is played. And this bishop is very importantly defending here. So white's back in the driver's seat. Still up in exchange. But black has a lot of pressure. But not a lot of time. Only 30 seconds here. And in this game, it's fairly even. But maybe a strong bishop for white. Just need to get through this pawn somehow. Takes, you need king or knight takes. Knight takes is played, but now there's queen takes h5. Free pawn, why not? Maybe queen here. And now the move is queen e2. Very important. Not allowing queen f2. So let's see it. And this d pawn is now hanging. Wow, this was a blunder. Queen g4. So queen f2 is allowed. King has to move. And now there's time for knight d2, it's saying. Okay, this knight steps up. Bishop takes, and again, knight d2 is very strong. Knight d2, I guess, is just threatening a perpetual. Knight d2 is only move. Yeah. Now you can play king h1, but then you're getting checked. So queen g4 was the throw from Subham. Missed queen e2. Allowed queen f2, and now this king is in a bind. This game, 1 second. White's completely crushing here. Where's the mate? There's a forced mate. Mate in 4 now with rook f7. Rook f7 or rook d5. These are the only two moves. And Casablanca has a whole minute to find it. He finds the best one. King here, and now there's mate in 1. Beautiful. Bishop takes f3. GG. So the Titan does go down. And I think with that, we're going to switch on over to watch the Dallas versus Virginia match. So 3.5 for Paris. Very strong, but not enough. A little too late for the ASU team. So congratulations to the Golden Bears getting a solid win against ASU. I'm going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back for some D1 action. UT Dallas versus University of Virginia up next. Stay tuned. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. We've got another week 6 matchup here, but this time in the top division. We've got UT Dallas versus University of Virginia. These are two heavyweight teams, but UT Dallas is a heavy favorite. Virginia was the 8th ranked team going into the start of the season, and they've been here many times before, being able to knock down some of these top teams. But UT Dallas, they've looked pretty unbeatable so far this season until last week, where they got their first loss handed to them at the hands of SRM, IST, all the way from India. So can they be beat 2 times in a row? It seems unlikely, but as SRM showed, they are clearly beatable. And so Virginia will look to follow suit. Here it looks like we have a Sicilian. This is between Joseph Levine and Samant S. So Samant, this is the... Oh, actually, Samant, I don't have on the... I don't have on the scoreboard. I gotta switch that out. Wow, Oscar Chess, famous chatter in my chat. That's crazy. How lucky am I? Very lucky for sure. Let me check on the other games that are going on here. Oh, this is Aditya. JK, he is here. All right. Let's check in. We've got looks like a huge lead for white here. Takes bishop here with tempo. Bishop takes now. Knight out. Rook over. I mean, just look at the lead in development for white. Knight here, but queen here now. Knight hits the bishop. This knight's pinned to this. And if knight takes, queen takes. Wait. No, if knight takes, we just take here. This is ridiculous. The move is knight takes d5, bishop takes d5. But good luck castling. And the bishop, I mean, this could be taken, this can be coming in. So Owen McCoy, this is one of the captains for Virginia. Perhaps the main captain for Virginia. National Master, 2696 it's showing, but Yair Parkov, Grandmaster from UT Dallas. Tremendous opening here. Castled and rook on the e-file already. Queen and bishop both lined up here. This is why you don't like to play f6. So Owen is going to struggle here in this game one. Anti-London player, you liked the commentary for Virginia Tech and UPenn. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Pawn push, just expediting this process. But interestingly, the computer says go ahead and just sack. But no, white wants to keep the bishop pair, so not taking here just for a check. But also not sacrificing here. Yeah, bishop takes and the e-pawn is going to drop. So black is trying to find any sort of counterplay at this point, but look at this poor king on e8, just a sitting duck in the middle of the board. White's got the rooks connected, rook on the e-file. I mean, what more could you want? Up on time, 3 minutes to just under 2. And let's check in with the top board. So we've got Jason Moorfield. This is the top board from Virginia. Chessically inclined. He's a veteran of the league. He's been playing throughout his undergrad career, and now he's a grad student at University of Virginia in engineering, I believe. I forgot what type of engineering specifically. It's something cool, like aerospace engineering, I want to say. Something like mechanical engineering. Wow, look at this move. Knight takes e5. Double exclam brilliancy. Leaving the queen hanging, but attacking the other queen. So, yeah, this pawn, this knight moved back saying, hey, I'm attacking your pen piece and I'm unleashing a discovery on your d-pawn, which is hanging. And we see the knight coming back, offering some extra support for this pen piece. And Jason takes this pawn on d3, saying, free pawn, let me take that, and let me attack this knight even further. See how you like it. And Raul says, you just activated my trap card. Knight takes e5. Discovery. Intermezzo. I mean, really a beautiful move. So, yeah, if bishop takes queen, there's knight takes queen, and both now your rook and your bishop will be hanging. So the queen steps back, saying, I'm going to keep this tempo on your queen. But now the knight can come back and self-pin, but preserve itself, save itself. So ultimately, that was a fancy way of trading pawns. They trade the d-pawn for the e-pawn. So that's kind of funny. Anyways, this queen is hit again. But also, black can trade if they want. So yeah, fun game here from Raul. Raul's the board 4 for Dallas at 29.08. This is clearly a mistake because if the knight could go here, the knight certainly can go here now. So that's a trade, and now white could maybe snag a pawn. Oh yeah, but also the bishop's just hanging. My bad. So now we see resignation. Quick game from both Jason and Owen. Owen also resigned here. Here we had another exclam. So yeah, black tried to trap the bishop. Pawn push, knight here, inviting the bishop with check. Bishop back, threatening checkmate. Pawn push to block. Bishop takes, pawn takes, pawn takes, pawn takes, and now knight takes. Double exclam here. Threatening, simply just checkmate. And if queen takes, then say hello to my bishop. That is a nasty mate as well. Oh my goodness. The Dallas players are no joke. And of course, our favorite Gergely Cantor also getting a quick, easy win. Guys, this match might be over fast. So if you blink, you might miss it. Cantor crashes through on f2. I mean, this is just too simple, too easy. We do have one game here, and Joseph was actually looking good. So let's put some points on the board for Cantor, Raul, and it was Yair Parkov. And now it's Aditya Samant versus Joseph Levine. So here there was an opportunity missed. The move apparently is bishop g5. Yeah, so this was a mistake, clearly, skewering the rooks, but there was a mistake here from white, a miss. So, and then here as well, it said there was a better move. Bishop takes, wait. Bishop takes b4 was missed. Okay. I'm not gonna lie, I would have missed that. But this knight's pinned. You do bishop takes with check. Okay. So wow, lots of blunders here. This is +6 for white. So Joseph is actually gonna get a win for Virginia. This was kind of a weirdly played game, I must say. I thought black was gonna bring it back because it looks so much better. But okay, what happened here? Bishop takes. Bishop. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's 2 knights for free. 2 knights for free. You don't see that very often. So that was weird. And then a rook for free too. Yeah, these rooks were not respected very much. So Aditya Samant, maybe an off game for them. But that's good news for Virginia. Only down by 2. Which is kind of a sad thing to say, considering they only got 1 point out of 4. But Joseph keeping the Virginia team in it, not getting swept. Definitely an off game from Aditya Samant. A pre-move, perhaps. How's Virginia doing? I don't think they've won a single game, if I'm being honest. All right, let's watch Joseph now play against Cantor. Let me double check you on this. Yeah, Virginia has lost all 5 weeks in a row, unfortunately for them. So they're about as mathematically eliminated from playoffs. Unless they win these next 2. Anti-London player, thanks for the follow, by the way. Appreciate that. Okay, so we've got round 2 underway. All 4 games have started. Is Magnus playing? I don't believe he's a university student, so he would need to enroll. But then he'd be eligible, so he could play in the Collegiate Chess League if he wanted to go to school. The odds of that happening are quite low, but maybe some of these scholarship teams can put up an enticing offer. But seems unlikely. I just doubt it, unfortunately. But we do have some other very strong grandmasters. Maybe not Magnus, maybe not Hikaru, but we've got Cantor. And Cantor is a very strong player. Cantor's been very exciting as well. All right. Looks like this last move was a mistake. Bishop going into a5. That's an annoying pin, to say the least. So this knight immediately stepping back, offering some support so the queen is free to move. This knight developing, connecting the rooks. This queen stepping aside. Computer likes taking here, which is quite intriguing to me. But the idea is that this knight's distracted, and now this knight can hop in, opening up this bishop. Pressure on c6 would be huge in that position. So we simply see b3, just taking the c4 option away. Or so it seems. So Cantor not quite ready to part with the bishop pair. We see rook coming over, offering some support for the c6 pawn. And now we have knight e4. Maybe looking to go to c5. But yeah, the computer will continue to like this idea, taking on b6 and playing knight e5. But it also likes knight to c5. Let's check in with Jason versus Yer. So Jason is the top board. And who did he lose to in round one? He lost to Raul, right? Yeah. Then Joseph is board 2. And he lost to Aditya Samant. So I have to move Aditya, actually. Owen is board 3. And Owen lost to Yer. So Yer should be board 2. And Aditya should be board 3. And we've got Alex Strauger for Virginia on board 4. Boohoo's UVA. You're a student at UVA. It sucks. How so? Have you checked out their chess club? Have you played in the CCL? Hello, Almany. You would switch to Virginia Tech. So, yeah, Cantor, I looked away for a bit. Oh, this is Jason Moorfield, actually. I don't think we've been watching much of this, but Jason's got a decent position, but down a minute. How's Cantor been doing? So Cantor did play the knight to c5. We do see the trade. Knight goes into d5, a nice outpost, but immediately questioned. by the pawn, going to e4. Oh, now to e5. So inviting the knight back to d5. But yeah, I'm looking at this bishop here, and I'm kind of questioning the future for this guy. Queen hit by the rook. Now the knight comes back to d5. So Cantor definitely for choice, but still has to break through and make some progress here. This is a very strong knight here in the center, but it's everything behind the knight is the problem. All of Black's pieces are just locked in. So yeah, we'll see what Cantor comes up with here. But let's take a look back at some of the other games. Here we've got Raul. Oh, I got to switch the points. Yer got a point, and it was Aditya who did not. Okay. So it does not like Queen e5 here. Raul has a 2-minute advantage on the clock here. 2.5 minutes, and this was a bad move by White. So what's going on in this game? So Black had an advantage here. Very strong pawn duo. Kicking the knight away. The knight should have gone to a3 apparently and just gotten forked. I have no idea how that works. That's a crazy idea to me, but yeah, he goes back, and now Black is for choice. But here now, White has a couple of moves. Now White's got the strong pawn duo. Here was a mistake because the move knight takes c4. Somehow. Oh, because it's a discovery with the bishop and a huge skewer there. Knight goes here, but doesn't grab any material. So Queen has a chance to move. Bishop comes in with a tempo. Knight here is a mistake because that's just a free rook. Here, and what? There was a move bishop a7. That's crazy. But okay. Knight here, knight g4 check, and oh my lordy. If takes, you're getting forked. But here, I mean, you're getting forked anyways. So why didn't you just take the bishop? Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen. There goes the queen. And you don't even get the piece out of it. It's so sad. Oh my goodness. Black's trading everything. So Owen resigns. Yeah, kind of an unfortunate position at the... I mean, bishop a7 is just ridiculous to find, but... All right. Let's check in with Alex. Down to 13 seconds with the black pieces. And is completely lost. A minute and a half here for Aditya Samant. So Raul improves to 2 out of 2 as the board 4. I mean, ridiculous. Board 4 is a 2900 Grandmaster. So takes down the top 2 boards from Virginia. Here we have Aditya Samant getting their first point. So a nice bounce back win for them, taking down the board 4 from Virginia. And we're left with Jason. So Cantor beat Joseph. Let's take a quick look at this one. So yeah, we were talking about making a breakthrough here, and it looks like we found it with knight takes e6. Bishop takes, and the queen's stepping in to say hello to this king. The king was not too happy about that, and so resigned on the spot. All right, so Cantor is now also a perfect 2 for 2, and definitely expect him to win all of his games. That's the kind of player that Cantor is. But of course, Virginia will give their best effort and try still. Okay, so here both players less than 30 seconds, and it looks like we had a mistake So far things seem to be pretty even Steven. It's a knight versus a bishop here. I would not recommend trading this here, but otherwise you'd have to help defend, but then you're allowing e3. So what else was the move? Rook back to c4, but of course it's kind of a weak move. Here rook d4 is good. Oh, here, and I mean, I'm expecting pawn takes. Look at this pawn mass here in the center. Wow, knight takes, allowing for bishop takes on e4, black takes on c3, but these pawns have become severely weak. Look at this. Look at this bishop now. Oh, but this knight is boxing this bishop out. So this king is stepping up. The move to play is c5, and that's been played. This is the passed pawn in the position. And what do you do with passed pawns? You push them. That does open up for this bishop, but black says, go ahead, move the bishop. See if I care. Because I'm getting this king in, and this pawn is walking. You might have a 3-on-2 over here, but I got, I mean, look, come on. Come on, knight d3. Wow, knight d3 not played. That's also crazy. But also pawn push. c2. Free piece. Thank you very much. All right, the knight. Ooh, gives up the g-pawn with check. And the knight can always sacrifice if needed. The knights are terrible pieces to catch the outside pawns. But... This king, I mean, should be more than enough, no? Knight here, maybe, yes. Pawn push. King back, just in time. King here, but now... Okay, knight's coming back. Yeah, king here now. And that's GG. Whoa. Knight here. I mean, saving the pawn. Okay, that's fair. King here. Pawn push. Probably not. Hold on. Knight back. Okay. Don't draw. King here. I like this move. I like this move a lot. Taking away the squares. Now the king is here. Knight here is very nice. We could see resigns soon, but the king's working his way. You could take this with check. Nope. He's going after this guy. So the key is to not lose this pawn. And yeah, you can park the knight here and just put the pawn defended by the knight. And you don't have to worry about the knight hanging. Because if the king ever steps up, this pawn is just a goner. So at this stage, we see resigns. So Yair, nice conversion there against Virginia's top board. And that round was a clean sweep. So Yair improves as well to a perfect 2 out of 2. And this is going to be wrapped up here in the next round. So Virginia only 1 point so far out of 8 games. And UT Dallas is showing the difference between a top team and a bottom team in the top division. Melly plays chess. Hello, welcome. What's up, Almany? Cheering for Yair. I've met Yair. I've been to the UT Dallas campus for the President's Cup, which is actually happening this weekend, but this year it's at Mizzou. So a lot of strong teams are competing in Missouri right now. 3 of them are Missouri schools. It's Webster, St. Louis University, and University of Missouri, Columbia, also known as Mizzou. And the 4th school is a Texas school, UT Rio Grande Valley, I believe. So that's why UT Dallas is playing today here in the Collegiate Chess League. And they're actually going to be playing another match after this, a bit later. So we're going to have about like an hour break before that next match starts. But that's going to be UT Dallas versus Lviv State University. So a team from Ukraine competing. So that'll be interesting. I will be streaming that as well, but probably we'll have a break between the end of this match and that one because there's about an hour between. But after this match, we'll probably have some interviews lined up. So yeah, feel free to stick around for that. But for now, we have the match to be played out. There's still 2 rounds left. Even if Dallas wins with a round to spare, the 4th round will still be played, as those points will be important for tiebreakers at the end of the season. Have I visited University of Virginia's campus? I have not, but I would enjoy it. I would like to go at some point and see. I've been to Virginia. Really, I've been to DC. I've been to DC once. And it was nice. I liked it. I went to Howard University campus. I've not been to Virginia Tech, no. But they have a strong chess team as well. On paper, University of Virginia has a stronger team. That's why they're in Division 1. Virginia Tech is in Division 2. But Virginia Tech is doing much better than University of Virginia. Of course, it's not a fair comparison at all because, I mean, look at the caliber chess team that Virginia has to play against. Jason Moorfield is Virginia's strongest player at 2901, which is normally an extremely impressive rating. But it's lower than the board 4 from Dallas at 2919, a grandmaster. So, yeah, the difference in these teams is just tremendous. So, yeah, like I said earlier, University of Virginia, they are the best of the rest. Same with Lviv. And yeah, we'll see how Lviv does against this Dallas team. So Dallas, they look pretty warmed up. Dallas did lose to SRM IST, which is also a non-scholarship team. So we have 5 of the 6 scholarship teams competing in the CCL. The one not competing is Webster University because they're focusing on things like Pan Ams and the President's Cup, which they're playing in today. And that leaves us with 3 non-scholarship teams in Division 1. So one of them is SRM IST from India. The other is another international school, Lviv from Ukraine. And the last one is University of Virginia, who we're watching today. So they definitely understand that they have their odds stacked against them. They understand that they're not the favorites against these scholarship teams. But they've been here so many times, they're used to it. In fact, I think they actually enjoy it. At least talking with Jason, I believe he enjoys playing the really strong players. So they like the challenge. I'm sure they don't like losing, but I think they understand they would rather be in D1 and play with the best than in D2 and maybe do better as a team, but not be playing against as strong competition. And yeah, we really appreciate University of Virginia because even if it seems like they're pushing a rock up a hill like Sisyphus, they enjoy it, you know? And if not for them, then it'd be some other team. It would be a worse team getting worse results. It would be like the next strongest D2 team. It'd be like Virginia Tech, you know? That's kind of a joke. But okay, is queen to G4 not a move? Is this not like just forking 2 pieces? Can't chess just be as simple as this? Oh, there's rook e6 there. My bad. My apologies. Ladies and gentlemen, chess turns out is actually simple. Who's the strongest player from Tech? Oh, and there's rook c2. And this falls. Okay. Rook here. There's rook takes here anyways. Computer gives us a blunder, but I guess there's knight takes on d4. I don't know. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. What's wrong with this? Probably everything. There's a rook here. This is what's wrong with it. Dang. I thought we could just take a pawn so easily. But it turns out it's not that easy. Unfortunately. So sad. So what do you do after rook c4 actually? You just take and pray. I don't know. Dang, that's just so demoralizing. Poor Jason. Okay, let's check on Joseph. Hi, Oscar. So Joseph is getting beat by Raul. I mean, look at the clock difference. 12 seconds to 3:52. I mean, this is just not even close. Less than 10 seconds now for Joseph. All right. Owen also under a minute to 2:57 from Gergely. And the black pieces now, I mean, look at this domination. Knight on e1, you play f3. King over, the rook's coming in to say hello. Yeah, you're going to have Alyekin's gun loaded at any moment. And we have Yair Parkov beating Alex Schrager. So, yeah. White just opens up the b file, doubles. Rook here's a blunder. Why? Because there's now knight takes f5. I mean, ridiculous move. If rook takes, you trade here, and then the bishop falls. So here and now you're pinned. Bishop back. Now knight takes f5, double exclam, and now rook takes rook, check, taking advantage of the pin. So we see resignation there. So Yair Parkov now improving. Yeah, Gergely Cantor wins here. Rook takes double exclam. Queen block, and now rook check's going to win the queen and mate. So Cantor is a perfect 3 for 3. Parkov is a perfect 3 for 3. And we've got 2 games left. Joseph switched things around here against Raul. Joseph had no time. And Raul was winning. But something bad happened. It's 2 rooks versus 2 minor pieces. I mean, what the heck happened here, Raul? Where did your rooks go? They got forked. So there goes 1 rook. There goes a 2nd rook. But you have 5 seconds. Okay. You can get 1 rook back. So you got a fork. You still be down in exchange. So Joseph has a chance to get the 2nd point for Virginia. That being said, Dallas has already won the match with the round to spare. And White decided not to take the rook. 2.8 seconds. Made that move with 0.8 left on the clock. Joseph is playing with some fire. 3 seconds. Rook lifts. Saying, I'm going to take, if you don't take my rook, I'm going to take your stuff. So, queen takes, pawn? No, king steps up. Now you kind of have to do this. Here, okay. Why don't we take this pawn? Why don't we want the material? We don't want to lose in the endgame, I guess. Well, this pawn has got some things to say to you. King steps back. I mean, this is ridiculous. King here. Oh my god. Joseph. He's gonna get on the board. He's going to take down Raul, the Grandmaster. Check, check, and queen with check. GG. Resigns. Huge point for Virginia. And Joseph actually has 2 points out of 3, which is pretty darn good. All right. We've got one last game here in round 3, and then we'll start round 4. So it's 2 knights versus a single rook. That's going to be good for Aditya Samant. He gives up one of the knights, but he gets a double exclam for it because there was going to be a queen coming in with a fork. So the rook on c1 was not protected. So the knight lives to tell the tale, and this mate is defended only by the queen. And the pawn says, I want to join in on the fun as well. So queen steps back. I mean, maybe there's something or maybe there's nothing. So, yeah, that's going to be the same exact thing that we just saw. Back to back. Oh, and with the skewer. Oh, that's so sad. Dang. He gets everything. So Aditya Samant, they're going to improve to 2 points. So it's the top 2 boards for Dallas with a perfect 3 out of 3. And the bottom 2 boards for Dallas, both 2 out of 3. Virginia, they've got their international master, Joseph Levine, holding his way. He's 2 out of 3 as well against the bottom 2 boards from Dallas. And yeah, Dallas, they've already won the match, but like I said, they will still play round 4 for tiebreak purposes. In the end of the season, if there are 2 teams tied with match wins, the next tiebreaker is the cumulative score. So Dallas wants to really rack up the score in case they're somehow tied at the end of the season with another team. Then they'll look at the tiebreak score. Virginia, they probably don't make the playoffs, but those points at the end still could be important for them. And yeah, also they want a chance to take down some of these top players. So round 4 now underway. Here we go. Jason looking for their first and only points of the match. But what's tough about being a top board is every game you play is going to be against a stronger and stronger opponent. So Jason saved the best for last year. And by the best, I mean he's playing against Gergely Cantor, who we've interviewed multiple times. Very strong player. Very fun player from Hungary. And yeah, Gergely's plan is to get a perfect sweep, 4-4-4. Same with Yer Parkov. And Yer's playing against Joseph. So Joseph's actually gotten some points for Virginia. He's 2 out of 3. And he's going to look to see if he can hand Yer his first loss of the day. Joseph's actually the rating favorite, 2809, compared to Yer at 2800 flat. Let's check in with Aditya Samant playing against Owen. Looks like an early lead here for white. So opening gone wrong. Yeah, what's going on over here, man? Oh my goodness. Owen McCoy putting on a show. All right, we'll see if it works out for him. Who knows? You got to change something up. That's for sure. Anyways. Reminds me back in the day, we had some crazy openings back when A Wonder Leong used to play for U Chicago. Now he's playing for Webster in the President's Cup. Okay. Anyways, I like Rook AD1. That looks pretty fun. Also says you can take on A6. Who says no? What's up, Zach? Good to see you. We're watching some college chess this Saturday, as we do every Saturday. All right, Samant says I'll take that free pawn. There's the material advantage, and yeah, black. I don't really know exactly what they're doing here, but pawn grabbed, secured, bishop retreats, looking to trade. Black still hasn't castled. All right, we just had a huge blunder here in Joseph's game or Alex's game. So knight here was the blunder. And the point now is bishop d5, pressure on this pawn that's pinned. Knight here to help save the pawn, but the knight's getting kicked very quickly here. So queen steps aside saying, hey, I'm going to take your bishop. But knight asks the queen if that's really where she wants to be. So the knight gets grabbed, this knight gets grabbed, this pawn gets grabbed, this pawn's going to fall. Rook here, devastating move. G2 is extremely weak, so we see rook f2, but now there goes another pawn. So that's a 2-pawn advantage for black. And with the attack, we've got opposite color bishops, but with 2 extra pawns, this is very deadly for Raul. So Alex is probably going to get swept. He's the board 4 for Virginia. So, I mean, his board 1 is getting swept. Life is tough as a board 4. Owen is also getting swept. So Owen kind of not their best opening from what I can tell. So yeah, who knows what's going to happen in this one? Or really, to be honest, I think we all know what's going to happen in this one. Owen's about to lose. So really, it's back to Joseph as Virginia's only hope for getting some points. And yeah, so far this game's been pretty even. So white's decided not to castle with the rook on h3. This computer says that's a question mark move. But yeah, we see the knight moving out of the way and the bishop coming back with a question. The rook sets back on h1, so now white can castle again. Just kidding. That's a joke. Once the rook has moved, you cannot castle with that rook. Castling must be the first move for both the king and the rook. So I'm guessing the king can still castle queenside. Although questionable if you want to do that or not. Pawn push, and there was an opportunity for either piece to capture, but it was well defended. So black takes the bishop instead. Queen takes back, and now we see pawn push, and this is given a question mark. Probably because you're going to get mated on g7 at some point. So, yeah. f6 is a requirement to not get checkmated. Otherwise, who knows what's happening to you. Okay, f6 is played. Not the strongest move in chess. In fact, quite a weakening one, but sometimes it's necessary. So Yer makes this move to help shield the king a little bit, but definitely not happy about it. So this is a great position for white, an opportunity for Joseph to get another point on the board. Queen to e7, I like this move a lot because it defends g7 and it doubles up on the e-file, probably threatening f5. So we see the king stepping off the e-file. So no castling for white. King is on f2, unless of course he resets the king back on e1, then he can castle again. All right, that was the same joke twice. Maybe I'll catch someone with that one of these days. Okay, Owen is still hanging in there. And I think with a bad opening, if you can just, survive and try to trade down, you can maybe make it out of it. But the problem is he's already down 2 points of material. And yeah, black is probably not in a good position to trade. But trying to take advantage of this pin, white simply just defends. And now this rook is probably free to double up on the d-file. That's exactly what we see here. Now white's threatening to take here. So we see this trade from black, but As every pawn and every piece gets traded, the odds of black coming back just are diminished. So now this knight can hop in here. So yeah, best of luck to Owen in this game. I suspect he will not be able to come back, but maybe he pulls off a miracle. Here you could trade off a rook. It should be simple enough. This knight's hopping in, looking for d7, and you can't even pin the knight to the rook because then there's knight takes with check. Oh, and that's just a free rook right there. So that wasn't good. Okay, so Owen resigns at that point. Now we've got Cantor and Jason. So yeah, Aditya Samant improves to 3. All right, let's see. Cantor's working on Jason here. So knight takes. And yeah, just giving up an exchange here is Jason. Double isolated pawns after the queen trade. So Cantor's up in exchange. Jason's trying to trap this rook, but actually, yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe the king just steps over. And I don't know. I don't think white would want to play this in the game. But if the king comes here, I guess there's always rook a8. And white's basically just up a king. You almost choked. Okay. I am curious to see, though, how Joseph does. So I'm expecting Cantor to win his game against Jason, but this one is actually close on the eval bar, but not close on the clock. 8 seconds for Joseph. Can he do it? Knight c6 is a fork, but there's the bishop trade, and now these pawns are pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. Although there is some beauty in the symmetry here. But okay, we're in a rook and pawn endgame, which are notorious for draws. So the question becomes how to make progress. So like these pawns are all at a standstill. They're just locked. These pawns can never push unless they want to. I don't know. Maybe they could make a pass pawn someday. But yeah, this is looking like it's dead even. I don't see how anyone makes progress. So at some point, maybe Yer could sack a pawn to make a passer. But more likely than not, we just won't see that happen. Okay, so let's keep an eye on Jason's game. So how did this rook get out of here? So the rook gets trapped momentarily, but then the knight releases it. So they trade some pawns here. Black picks up one pawn, but there's going to be a second pawn falling. Yeah, this is actually pretty bad. Wait, here it liked king e3. Okay, here takes pawn. F pawn is falling. This pawn will be passing. King here, I would play, maybe. Okay, there goes the pawn. The pawn is running. If the pawn runs even further, there's going to be this knight check fork to sack. So we see rook check first. And now rook here, guarding against the check and the other check. And this knight has no moves. So the pawn is getting VIP escorted to the promised land. We might even just ignore, yeah, just give a check is fine. Knight back, but then pawn push. So not even giving up the exchange. So Cantor wins that pretty cleanly, improves to the 4-0 sweep. And now it's up to Yair and Joseph. Hard to root against my fellow Joe, the underdog. Oh my goodness. Is White making progress, ladies and gentlemen? Yair just had to maintain status quo, but they traded pawns. But now, rook to f5, and holy smokes, folks, the rooks are getting disconnected. Rook here would be a huge blunder, actually. But, okay, takes, pawn push. So white, yeah, black put the king all the way back on a7 for really no reason. And now, white will create a passed pawn and simply win the game. And look at that. Just like that, Joseph is going to get to 3 points out of 4. The black king is desperately running back, but it's going to be a little late. Pawn push, creating a pass pawn. Rook takes back, and I would play rook here, but okay. Now pawn push. King is going to step up, but the rook's going to come here is the problem. And that's a big problem because that's going to be a queen. And if the rook goes here right away, you get this fork. So, yeah, there's one check, but say hello to a new queen. It's a baby girl. And there's resignation. All right, Joseph Levine. He's showing he can hang with the big dogs. He goes 3 out of 4. And Yair gets his first loss of the match. But Dallas can still rejoice. Clean win, 12-3. Only one player getting points for Virginia, Joseph Levine. And with that, I'm going to actually try to invite some of the players to join in for an interview. So if you all would please just... Oh, no, they're not going to interview. But we will see UT Dallas back again in about an hour. So we're going to take a bit of a break. I hope you all don't mind. But yeah, thank you all so much for being here. I really enjoyed it. Those were some really good games. Virginia, unfortunately, not able to hang and probably eliminated from the playoffs. But Dallas, they're bouncing back from their loss last week, their first loss of the season against SRM IST. And they're proving that they are in playoff shape. So we'll see how they do against a bit stronger of a team, Lviv State University. So yeah, I'm gonna end things here and send you all off on a raid, but I will be back in an hour to watch some more UT Dallas. They're playing against the team from Ukraine. So hope to see you all back again then, but if not, we will be back again next weekend, same time on Saturday, and that will be the last week of the regular season. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. We should see the number 1 versus number 2 seed, Mizzou versus SLU. So that will be very exciting. But yeah, in the meantime, please enjoy your weekend. I think the President's Cup is going on right now. So if you want to tune in and watch Missouri and SLU now, you could probably find them. I'm actually not entirely sure where they would be, but let me find you guys somebody to raid, and then I'll be back in an hour. Oh, it's the St. Louis Chess Club. That's very exciting. So we'll raid them. Very cool. All right, let's go check that out for an hour, and then we'll be back. All right, thanks again, everyone. See you all soon.